Hey, welcome back to the Montana Garage. We are down to 129 days until Rocky Mountain Race Week. I don't even have my mess cleaned up, let alone any new work done. I went from like 140 days to 129 days like that. I better get with it or this is never gonna happen. Today's task is getting these steering components cleaned up, steering box cleaned up. We'll chop off that steering shaft. I wanna get the steering box mounted on the frame once it's cleaned up so we can decide if the headers are gonna fit or if that's gonna cause us issues like everything else. Let's get greasy. I'm back messing with this little clutch pivot ball bracket. I was gonna maybe wait until I had the body on and the clutch in here so I could see how it all works, but eventually I'm just gonna have to make a decision. Even with that stuff on there, I can't push the clutch in and see how it goes until I do something. The questions are that this piece here isn't like square with the engine, so if I put this piece on here square with that, it ends up kind of facing a little forward, and then the bracket I made isn't square with the block. Or if I put this square with the block, the Z-bar square with that, then it's facing back a little bit and it's not square with this thing. I'm just gonna put it square so it rotates squarely on this little tab here. So that makes this Z-bar face a little forward. I have the clutch arm hooked up here. I don't see how it's really gonna matter. This piece isn't really hard to redo if I end up having to redo it. Seems like it works pretty good. If this guy's level and square with this bracket, I'll drill a hole in the spot I've got determined there. We'll put the clutch ball that I got on there and we'll see how it looks like it's gonna work. That don't look big enough all of a sudden. Guess I guessed wrong. Try again. 3/8, I guess. If you don't want to drill through your table, I guess you could pull that out over here over the air, but I don't mind drilling through my table. Well, bam! There's our pivot ball installed on our homemade fabricated bracket. Now hopefully my calculations were correct and I still have room to put all this together. The thing I still have to make is the spacers. So I'm thinking that I should be able to put this on here, get this in here, find my bolts. I need to figure out how big to make the spacers here. I just bought some black pipe. Where are they at? I don't have more. Couldn't find what I really needed. So I bought 2 of these 1/2-inch black pipe nipples. They're like $1 a piece. Figure out how tight I need this to be, and then I'll take the death wheel out and chop those to the sides they need to be to use that for the spacer. Probably a better way. I just couldn't find where I was at the hardware store. They only had a couple 1/2-inch spacers and they were like chrome and they were too big. Yeah, they were like, anyways, couldn't find what I needed. So I'm gonna make it. All right, that's about 1 1/8 tight. So I'm gonna make it about 1 1/16. I don't think I want it to be super tight on there. I can add a washer if I need to, I guess. And that one is, we'll call it 3/4 what I want to make it. Death wheel time, baby. Perfect, but we'll see if it'll work. All right, we're gonna cut the second one. Voila! Spacer numero dos. I almost said numero uno, but we already did uno. This is 2. Got lucky with the first one, and it seems like it fit. So let's see if number 2 will be the same. Almost said a hair too big, but she slides in there. Hopefully this bolt isn't too long. The spacer's not quite as long back here. Still going. Almost there. Bottoming out. So yep, that bolt's a hair too long, so I need to either get a different bolt, trim that bolt, or just add another washer. I already had the death wheel out and the flap disc, so I just tried to kind of buzz that off a little bit. Hopefully I got the end of it so it'll start. Oh yeah, oops. Need my lock washer. Make sure she'll tighten up this time. Well, bam. That guy's gonna go in there. G7 has like a little tab over here. Like that, maybe. like wiggle, just a hair of wiggle room, so it's not like super duper tight. Probably throw a little grease on those balls and we're ready to put her back together. And hopefully that's gonna work. All right, well, I got the death wheel out. The steering box here, the shaft needs chopped off at about 6 inches, so there's a mark at 6 inches. They say you'll have to retrim it again when you actually use the coupler to hook it to the new steering column. I'm hoping I'm not going to get into, I'm assuming this is all just wear. Maybe that's supposed to be like that, but there's a big old groove worn in that bad boy, so hopefully we're going to be good to use this. I guess if not, we'll find something else. I want to get it cleaned up and then put it back in the frame because I want to find out, make sure my headers still fit. So let's chop this off and get to work. Well, bam! Good enough for now. All right, now that we don't have this big steering rod to contend with or fight with, we can take this over, start scraping some of this grease and grime off of here. We got the big stuff off the steering box. I'm gonna hit it with some degreaser, let her soak for a while, and we'll maybe hit it with a hose and then wire wheel and whatever we gotta do to get her clean. And we'll start doing the same stuff to that. And we'll come back when we got some clean stuff. Well, that was fun. All right, I know it's not nice to lie. That wasn't fun, but I got this stuff mostly cleaned up. Center link and the pitman arm. This stuff all feels pretty smooth still. I'll have to look into see how you go about. I think you can take this apart on the end somehow, maybe to grease it up. I mean, there's a greaser. I don't know. I'm probably just gonna reuse it for now. Obviously, I'll replace the tie rod ends. Got these cleaned up. I'll put some goop on them to see if they can soak for a while. So hopefully I'll be able to get the tie rod ends out of there. And then the steering box, I got it mostly cleaned up. So two things about it. It was so dirty that obviously I probably need to look into, I know they have a kit to replace the seals. So we need to probably do that. And then, I think I showed you guys this before, but it's got this big groove in it. I did it steering column instructions say to cut it at 6 inches. And then when you fit the column, you'll have to cut it again. I'm afraid, or I'm hoping, that I'm not going to be right where this big groove is with the, oh, it's still bent that little bit there. You can see it kind of spinning off center. Maybe I should be looking into getting a different steering box. I am going to plan on reusing it for now. It was steering before, obviously not great. I'm getting all new suspension and everything. I want it to steer as good as we can. Anyways, for now, it's cleaned up and I'm going to put her in there just to test fit my headers to see if the headers are still going to work. And then that way I know if I need to clean up my headers and get them painted or search out some new ones. Steering box is installed. This is my header. And I'm going to have to come in from underneath, which means we're going to have to jack it up. All right, I'm going to try real quick without jacking it up, but I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, can't even get under the cross member. I think I'm also probably going to have to take clutch assembly apart to get it in there and then put that back in, see if it works once it's installed. Headers are a pain. All right, we are jacked up. Clutch assembly's out of the way. I'm starting to have little flashbacks that I had to put the header in at the same time as the engine was going in kind of thing before. Maybe not. Hopefully it's gonna come in from underneath. I already checked the other side. It's easy peasy. I already know that it goes in there. So it's at least gonna go up and in. And it looks like she's gonna work. Not touching the steering box still. It might be a little challenging to get this clutch thing together now, but look, I better put a couple bolts in here and then check and make sure this is still gonna work. Guess things don't work as good as I thought they did with the old clutch ball bracket. So the bolt does hit this header tube, so I can't quite get the header on. Couldn't get the bolt in there with the header in place, so I thought maybe if I put the bolt in first, then I could get the header on if it was gonna be tight. But I'm either gonna have to bash this header, or maybe I'll just shorten this spacer just a hair and then see if it's gonna work. I think I can live with a little more, slack right there. So I tried removing the spacers, seeing how far over this is gonna have to go before the header fits. The header still doesn't fit, and I feel like I have way too much slop in this clutch bracket now. So I think what I'm gonna do is bash the header. I hate to do that, but either that or figure out some different headers that are gonna work, and who knows if anything's gonna work, because it's never designed to have this piece in here. So we'll bash that header a little bit and see if that's gonna help us out. Couple header smashes later, and I think we're good to go. I hated to bash the header, but that's kind of the solution I decided to take. It's not very much that I had to do it. I thought about trying to, rebuild this bracket, put like a little step in it so that where the bolt is, it's tighter to the frame and then it steps out. But the problem with that is I was worried about being able to get this on here, because I have to be able to put it way over, get it in the Z-bar, and then tighten it up. If the bracket was tight to the frame in this configuration, then I couldn't, wiggle it in there. So I wanted to redo the bracket, but I didn't think that would work. So I decided to throw a little heat on the header. All I have is one of these little propane torches. I couldn't get it like red hot, but it heated it up enough to where it made her bash a little easier. Couple poundy pounds. And I don't know, I guess we'll call that good for that. All right, I installed the header one more time. What I did different is I actually took just a smidge off of my little spacers, because this felt like it was too tight. So I got just a little play in it, but the engine's gonna torque and stuff, so I felt that like that was better than just having it super tight in there. There's our header bashing. Probably actually means I moved those in a little bit. I went a little further than I have to, but it's not really that bashed in that bad, and whatever, is what it is. And then I was also worried about the header being too low to the ground here. And obviously I'm gonna have some weight put on the car, but the coilovers are in their lowest position. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to use these full length headers. Other people were telling me I was gonna have to go with like a half mid-length header or something because of the drop spindles and whatnot, but I think these are gonna work. They got more room there than my 57 ones did. All right, well, that's about it for tonight. I think I got other stuff I gotta take care of. I didn't really get much done. I got all that stuff cleaned up. Got this figured out. I got a little more cleaning to do. Now that I know the headers fit, I'm gonna get them cleaned up and paint them. Before I had them kind of silver or aluminum color. I think I'll go black now, we'll see. So I got some painting of the steering stuff to do, headers, and put that little bit of stuff on it. And I think I gotta get the firewall painted, and then we'll be ready to put the body on the frame. See you next time.